Tony Iommi. Hello, Tony.
Hello, Dougie.
Yeah, still alive and well, huh? Wait, hang on. Here it is. I've got your music for you now, brother. Look out. This is the definitive Black Sabbath in my world. Now that is a guitar riff at the riff. Tony Iommi, of course, from Black Sabbath. Welcome to the Motor City. Welcome back here.
Thank you, Doug.
It's good to have you here.
Yeah, it's good to
and
be here.
And congrats on the new CD. We're going to talk about that a lot here in just a minute.
Good, thank you.
But there is so much history behind yourself that is just amazing. Just amazing stuff. You having a good time on this tour so far? Kind of, going around the country?
It's been very interesting, actually, yeah. Just, going around looking and seeing how it's all done.
Running into Sabbath freaks everywhere?
One or two.
Well, last night we had, hang on. Oh, yeah. That was going around in my head for about a month. I had to finally go out and buy this CD. I don't know what, caught my ear. It was probably listening to the new Iommi CD that got me, thinking about it a little bit. But that is a great guitar riff right there. Oh, who's that? So,
who's that record?
So we had a good time at dinner last night, and it was kind of a strange table because here we were. We had one half of the table was a business side, and we were kind of talking business and talking about the new CD. And the other half of the table were basically Black Sabbath freaks. And they knew every single thing about your life. And
they did, didn't they? Yeah.
And you kind of mentioned to me that as you looked at the Black Sabbath Volume 4 album here and said, "Let me see what's on there." Is it tough to remember all the songs and all the albums and put them in perspective when you're talking to guys that know so much about your music?
It is because there's so many albums, and just to remember everything you've done, every title, and there's that many compilation albums, and God knows what else about now. It is hard sometimes to remember them.
It's pretty tough, huh?
Yeah.
And now, are they doing anything these days with the CDs where they're going to come out with bonus tracks or digitally remastered, or is there any plans at all to release some, unreleased material from the Sabbath days?
Oh, I don't know about unreleased. As I said to you last night, I've got some stuff at home that I've had for over the years, because from old days, the old even rehearsals, I used to tape everything from way back.
Now, there was an album that was mentioned to me. See, I told you I did my homework, right, Tony? And it was with you and Glenn Hughes from '96.
Right.
And it's apparently an album that you guys did together, right?
It is.
And it's been bootlegged so heavily that you've decided never to put it out. Is that true? Or what's the real story?
From when was it? The '96 one?
Yeah.
No, what happened, we'd done some stuff at my house, and I got Dave Holland on drums from Judas Priest, and Don Airy on keyboards, and Glenn and myself, and we just jammed around, wrote some songs, and that's as far as it went, but somehow they've got out. And
Now, how does somehow it gets out?
I don't know, because they did go to a couple of studios to be copied, for copies.
Okay,
so
that's how.
I can only imagine it's from somewhere there, or I don't know, because I've asked Glenn, and Glenn's got no idea. He asked me. I said, I have no idea how they got out. So.
Well, I can only imagine that if, you're taking your stuff to a studio, and Doug Podell is sitting there, and he's going to, kind of mix it for you. I'm going to copy one for myself,
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then, it only takes a year or so later, and eventually...
Oh, that's probably what's happening.
Can you make me a cassette of that, Doug? And, they finally get out there. Huh?
I might as well make you one then.
Would you? Because I really want to get one. But I just wanted to mention the guys who we were with last night, because Bob from Rock of Ages was out there. Pretty cool record store. And then they had the guys from Handelman out there as well. And David from Desirable Disc. Now, these guys knew everything about Black Sabbath. I mean, they just were talking about all the different albums and all the, different concerts that you had done. And you told a pretty funny story about when you came out for the first reunion. Was that it, with Halford and Dio or OZZY? What was that story now?
I can't remember which story it was.
You were telling so many last night.
Remind me.
Those Sapporos kicked in, didn't they? Well, apparently it's when Halford had to take either OZZY's place or Dio's place.
Yeah,
that was...
Yeah, what happened? We were going to do OZZY. It was his final show again. And
now, how many final shows has Black Sabbath done?
No, that wasn't a Black Sabbath. It was an OZZY one.
Okay.
It was OZZY final show that time.
All right.
And he asked us if we'd do his, play on that show with him. So we thought, that's great, yeah, we'll do that. And this is when we had the Dio lineup. And so we said yes. Of course, Ronnie didn't say yes. So we thought he'd come round to wanting to do it, towards the end. But he just didn't. And he said, I'm not going to go on and support a clown, was his words, I think.
Oh,
so,
okay. All right. So Ronnie and Ozzy really, they don't get along.
No,
okay.
They really don't. And Rob Halford called up and he said, I'll do it. He heard that Ronnie wasn't going to do it. He said, I'll do it. I'd like to do it. So we just got together with Rob in Phoenix, rehearsed 2 days, and off we went, really.
And sort of was that the beginning of the rift between... Because I sensed last night, now I blew it because I came out and said, well, Ronnie James Dio, oh yeah, he's a friend of mine. And then you kind of clamped up. And I was thinking all the way home, I get a feeling that Ronnie and Tony aren't getting along these days. But
no,
what is the story?
It's not we don't get along. It just ended on a bit of a bad note.
Yeah.
Because of the Ozzy thing, really. I mean, I haven't seen him since, so there's no, bad vibes from my side at all. It's just, I don't think there is from his either. It just at the time, I think how it all happened, because we actually done that gig without him. And I think it caused
because basically you guys weren't with Ozzy anymore. You had formed this new thing with Dio, and
right.
Heaven and Hell, and some of that stuff did really well.
It did, yeah.
Still to this day. As a matter of fact, I just saw some news. Tales of the Crypt came out with Heaven and Hell on it, as a matter of fact. Some new CD it's got on there. Yeah, so, they're still putting that stuff out. But here comes Ozzy saying, hey, let's do this final reunion thing, and it just didn't work out.
It didn't. Certainly Ronnie wasn't involved in it, so...
Yeah.
But the reunion with us lot did at the end.
Well, you've had so many... I didn't really realize how many different lead vocalists you had worked with yourself. Glenn Hughes, right? There was sort of that little... incestual thing between Deep Purple and Sabbath. I don't think it was meant to be that way, was it?
Very peculiar how all that happened. I mean, it turned out every time we changed the member, somewhere along the line, it'd been with Deep Purple. So it's
or went to Deep Purple or something like that.
Right, yeah, or something offshoot, like with Ronnie and Rainbow and stuff.
But you had Ian Gillan
for a while. We had Glenn Hughes.
Yeah.
And
Tony Martin for a while.
Tony Martin with us for a while, yeah.
Any other lead vocalists that you can't stand anymore? Now, who did you get along with the best, and then the worst when you were in the working aspect of the bands?
I don't think we actually got along bad on any of them. It was just the fact of when you're working together. I mean, look. I mean, the Ozzy thing lasted a long time, and it just got to a stage where we were so out of it on drugs, basically. That's how that ended, and it come to an end where we had to do something, and we couldn't get Ozzy to sing anything, and I wasn't much better. I was out of it as well, so we had to make a change somewhere along the line, and that's when we brought Dio in, and that went on good for a couple of years, 3 years, and I think he wanted to have his own band in the end. So at the end of the day, we just basically broke up.
Now, did you have to take a break for a while to get yourself straightened out, or because it looks to me like you've always been working almost right from the beginning? You've been kicking out albums and putting bands together, and
well, I have. I've kept the thing going, which has been pretty difficult because I hate it when somebody goes and you've got to bring somebody else in and then go through the whole routine of getting them to play or sing like you want it, really.
Right.
So it is difficult. It's a long procedure. So I mean, Tony Martin actually was with me for 10 years.
Yeah, that was a long run, like 87 to 95, right?
Yeah. And we've done a lot of shows. I mean, not just here, but we've done everywhere, all the other parts of the world. So we were touring quite a lot.
I would have to believe that and this reunion, this last one, was just monstrous. I mean, it was huge, not only from a concert standpoint, but from the big package, the CDs that came out, and just worldwide, everything, the videos, it was a big reunion. But you would have to believe, as a fan and everything, that it would be difficult and probably would have never happened had you not kept that band and that spirit and the music alive all those years, never knowing that, Ozzy's coming back or any of this was going to happen, but just from the drive and the passion for the music, right?
I think so. I think by me keeping it alive has still kept an interest up, and I always thought in the back of my mind somewhere something was going to happen with the original lineup, but you just never know. It might not. but it did.
And do you think anything more is going to continue? I know that...
Again, it might not, but it might.
Well, you had a pretty good run. How long were you on tour with this reunion?
It took 2 years.
Yeah.
It was a good run. We've done pretty well around the world, you know, so... and it went just marvellous. You couldn't wish for it. For me, it was a real dream come true, because it had gone in a full circle, you know, back to the original lineup, and we could all walk on stage together again, and it was just superb. You couldn't wish for anything better.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. It's 101 WRIF in Detroit. We're sitting here with the man in black, Tony Iommi. Very nice gold cross, too, by the way. I'd like to add.
Yes, you know what? That's 30 years old, that is.
Is that right?
Yeah,
that could be an album cover right there.
It is, actually.
I was going to say, I think I've seen that before. Hey, listen, we'll just take a quick break. We'll be right back with Tony Iommi, and we'll find out all about the new Iommi CD. You definitely want to hear that, okay? And more of this! Volume 4, Super Nut, the riff of all riffs! Stay there. We're coming right back with Tony and more on the riff. WRIF, Detroit's home of rock and roll. And I'm Doug Hodell. We're here with Tony Iommi today from Black Sabbath. Tony? Hello. Yeah, it's good to have you here. I'll tell you, I had a good time last night. That was a lot of fun. And we were talking about David Coverdale, and you just had mentioned that he was at one time up to be a vocalist for you for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I called him, oh God, yeah, when I think when Ozzy first went, I called him. And he was about at the time just to form Whitesnake. So we talked a few times, and I think it was either then or it was after Ronnie, I think it was. And I won't tell you what he said. Oh, so-and-so, well, I've just formed this band called Whitesnake, just signed this deal. But that was about it.
I can hardly wait till Dio comes into the studio. Ronnie, have you heard the story about... Well, what was that story now? That was a pretty good story about Ronnie James Dio that you told last night. It was the one where he got dragged off stage by a listener. Is that?
I wasn't telling this story. I'll tell you who told that story. The chap that was with us.
Oh, is that what it was?
But it did.
Maybe the beer got me a little blurred there.
No, he did get dragged off the stage in Detroit.
It was in Detroit at Pine Knob.
Pine Knob, yeah. And I think some fan jumped up and grabbed Ronnie, and the guy that works for Ronnie come running over and tried to, and he just shoved the fan. Of course, the fan kept hold of Ronnie, so Ronnie went sailing into the audience like a rag doll, and it was just...
He wasn't hurt, was he?
Well, he did.
A little shaken up.
He wasn't too amused when he climbed back on stage.
Oh, I can imagine that.
But, you know, it was just in legs disappearing into the audience.
And you had to keep the song going. There you go. He just threw in a couple of extra riffs. I just kept... Well, tell me about the new album. First off, you have a website. Is it Iommi.com or Tony?
Iommi.com.
Okay, so it's IOMMI.com.
Yep.
And you can go there and check it out. Are there any downloads in there right now that you can check out, or?
I don't know. I don't do it. Mike Clements is the one that does it.
All right, so you have the website. People can go check it out. Tell me how, because a lot of people kind of, when this first came out, and they saw that there was a wide variety of vocalists on it, like David Grohl and Billy Corgan, and Ozzy and Billy Idol and Henry Rollins, and it was like, well, yeah, Santana did that, but you were telling me that this is a project that you've been working on for a lot of years. Right?
Yeah, 3.5 years ago I started it, and as I was saying to you, I wrote about 15, 20 songs, trying to find a direction. I was working with this producer, Bob Marlette, and we just both sat down and I'd come up with this stuff and trying to find a direction of where we were going on it. And, I mean, I liked some of the stuff we were doing, but it wasn't quite what I wanted to do for an album. So we scrapped that, and then once we got back onto the riff again.
Okay.
So I suppose they'll be floating around somewhere.
It's on Napster right now.
So, then once it's gone back onto the riff again, it's, we're on a direction. Then the idea of the reunion came up, so I had to shelve, I had to shelve the project, and then...
I was going to say 3.5 years, is that normally how long you work on an album? Or was it the scheduling problem of getting these guys into a studio?
It was actually, because I was touring, because we toured solid for 2 years, and everybody else was touring, so, you know, I had to work round as soon as they got a break. Hopefully I'd got a break, which wasn't always the way, you know. Like in between Sabbath tours, we might have 3 weeks off or something, and I'd go to LA and write a couple of things, and hopefully try and get somebody there, you know, so we could work together. And that's basically how we had to do it.
Yeah, it's a really good record. And when we first heard the track with David Grohl, everybody in the radio station was just blown away. And, you know, I mean, it's just a tribute to the, I guess the musicianship is just, it continues from, you know, all these years, and it's just fantastic stuff. And then we happened to be, as we were speaking, we went to Napster. And we noticed the Smashing Pumpkins' new record was on there, okay? So we're playing it the other day, and we downloaded a couple of tracks, and it was just so haunting that Billy Corgan's guitar sounded very much like Tony Iommi's. And then you were telling me last night that now what's this? Billy Corgan actually... took everything from you, right? Your guitar, your pickups, your amp, your tubes, everything. I don't get it.
He had a guitar. He had an Iommi guitar. He had one of my amplifiers from the company, not mine, but one of my own design amplifiers.
Now you have your own guitar line and amp.
Yeah. Own pickup as well.
So I could go home, buy this stuff, and recreate Volume 4 tomorrow, right?
Probably not.
You're probably right.
But you could certainly get the same stuff now. So yeah, that line's out. So yeah, Billy has got it.
Have you heard any of that yet? Because it really is.
What, Volume 4, yeah.
A little bit of a rip-off. No, I'm talking about this...
no, I haven't.
This Billy Corgan stuff. He must have really turned out to be a big fan.
You know, he was, and he is. I really got on great with Billy.
Yeah.
But you know, all the things you hear before, even though I've known him for a while, on and off, I've seen him when we're going to have for dinner or lunch or whatever, and over a period, you know, you hear all these things. Oh God, he's going to be terrible to work with. Oh God, I can't imagine it. Because you don't know, you know, people can be really nice, all your friends, and then once you get in the studio with them, they can be real, you know.
Yeah.
But he was great, and they all were, actually. They were all really nice people, and I thought done a cracking job.
Yeah. Well, let's give it a listen. Let's check out a track from Iommi. When's the album coming out?
17th.
17th of this month. In the meantime, this is the one you've been hearing on the riff. It's one with David Grohl. It's called Goodbye Lament, and it's Tony Iommi and Friends from 101 WRIF. 101 WRIF. Detroit's home of rock and roll. Had to get that one in there.
Who's the hell's that?
Had to get a couple of royalties in there today. Now, when you wrote that, did you ever think that song would stand the test of time the way it has to this day? I mean, top 10, no matter where you go in the country, at any rock station.
You never do, really. No, you know what? I actually wrote that in a lunch. We were in the studio doing Paranoid album, and everybody popped out to have a bite to eat. And I'd just come up with that riff while they were out. I was fiddling around in the studio. And when they came back, I says, have a listen to this, you know. Wow, yeah. And we just recorded there and then. And no, it was another one for the album, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, it's just unbelievable, especially some of that early stuff, how it just has stood the test of time all these years. Of course, the new one we heard, too, with David Grohl, but you were just kind of giving me here the inside scoop as to some of the musicians. Grohl played drums on that, huh?
He did, yes. He wanted to play drums on it. He insisted he plays drums.
Is that right? So not only did he sing, but he played drums on that particular track.
He did, yeah.
And then you've got Brian May helping out on a couple of tracks, too, including that one.
That's right.
And Bill Ward. Working with you on that, on the OZZY track.
Yes.
So that had to have been like a little mini reunion in the studio.
It was, really. I mean, I wasn't going to have certainly Ozzy on the album, not because I didn't want him on, but we didn't plan to have him on because Ozzy's been busy and he's doing his own stuff.
And because you're sick of him after 2 years of being on. I mean, come on. You've beat up every lead singer, but you haven't said a thing about Ozzy yet, so you got to give me a good story on Ozzy.
On this one, he said to me... he said, how come you haven't asked me to be on the album? And I said, well,
That's how we talk.
I said, well, why do you want to? I said, I didn't think you want to be on it. He says, yeah, of course I do. So that was it, you know. I said, great, okay, you're on it then. And Bill was sitting there. I said, well, do you want to be on it as well? I said, yeah, of course I do.
Oh, okay. So
that's basically what happened. That's why Ozzy and Bill are on it.
good thing the rest of the guys weren't sitting there, right? Or it'd be another Sabbath track.
Goose was probably in bed somewhere.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they did. It was really great to have them on.
Yeah, that's really a fine record, and it's just great having you here. Now, you got to ask the big question.
No. Is the answer?
No strip bars last night at Windsor? Now, I understand you did. You went home and watched James Bond. Is that right?
I went back and watched James Bond.
We've got casinos. We've got Windsor. We've got the ballet. We've got everything here.
Yeah, this is extremely
James
cool,
Bond. Very good.
James Bond, I think I was better off watching him last night, actually.
But what about a tour now with this Iommi project?
I'd like to, yeah. We're talking of it now, putting something together where we could actually do a mini dates, mini tour.
Get a couple of the singers to go out with you?
I've got a few of them, yeah.
You got bandmates you think you could put together for this?
I have. I've got a band instantly now together, yeah. An instant band.
People be lining up to play with Tony Iommi, I would imagine.
So it's looking pretty good. I mean, I've got certainly half of the people that's on the album at the moment, so it's looking good.
Man, that is great. Well, we're keeping our fingers crossed for that. Congratulations on the new album, the new project. It's really good to have guys like yourselves still making music and still exciting the fans and doing all the things that you guys do, because nobody does it better.
That's all I know what to do, and that's been my life, for so many years. And a lot of things have fell by the wayside because of what I believe in, and I do believe in it, and that's why I do it.
Well, a lot of history with Tony Iommi, and a lot of it comes out on this particular new album, and that's great.
Well, I think, we had great fun doing it. Well, we did have great fun doing it. It was really good. It was really different for me to step away from Sabbath outside and do, take on a project with a lot of different people.
But if Ozzy calls up and says, it's time to go.
No, he won't. He'll go,
Hey, can't end on a better note than that. Thank you very much. Tony Iommi for being here.
Thanks
all
so
right,
much.
and
Great.
congratulations on the new CD. Hey, we're going to all take a quick break, and when we come back, more 2 for Tuesday for you, so don't go anywhere.
Pack your bags, because your concert station, 101 WRIF, is